Hi, this is Antia Boyd.
And this is Brody Boyd.
And we are the creators of the Attraction Alchemy online show. So we're really excited for you to dive right into the next expert/character interview and discover the magic formulas for you to attract your forever love.
We'll see you there.
Mwah. Hey ladies, welcome back to Attraction Alchemy online show where single successful women become the enchantress who grants her own wishes and manifests her forever love. Yeah. And I love talking about that so much. And you know what's sometimes important too is really break out of it a little bit, ladies. And so that's why I brought Emilia Nagy here with me today. And she's also known as the Star Seed. Now, hold your seat, stay seated. You know what I mean? We're going to explain to you what that is and why is that relevant in your dating. Some of you are like, I have no idea what you're just talking about. Fantastic. Stay seated. And while you wait to be seated, or while you stay seated, I'll tell you a little bit about Emilia, what she does when she's not a star seed, because she's on a mission to lead fierce visionaries into unapologetic conscious love, divine service, and global impact by partnering powerfully with an amazing man and all men. Emilia stands for the spiritual, political, social, and economic power of all women, supported fully by the men who love them. She helps women connect to their creativity by facilitating a sacred space for deep inner vision, healing of wounds, injuries, and dishonor, claiming their sovereign creative power, and dating discerningly for true loving partnership. So welcome, Emilia.
Thank you, Anita. It's so great to have you. Hi, everybody.
Hi. And not to mix up with Amelia. I know we have like two as Amelia and Emilia.
Emilia with an E.
This is Emilia with an E, ladies, okay? So just for your golden nugget we're putting later on into your treasure map. Awesome. So Emilia, I'm excited, because when we met, we were right away talking about star seeds and different dimensions. How is that really, really super relevant to the dating life that the single women are in today, how they can actually fast track to attract the right man for them by healing all the wounds you talked about, the healings of dishonor, for example. So I'd love to hear, and I'm sure the women are dying to hear what in the world, well, first of all, why in the world did you pick to be a star seed? And second of all, what in the world is a star seed?
Yeah, what the heck is a star seed?
I mean, what the heck,
Yeah, so there's a lot of terms about that explain what a star seed is. So, I mean, I could get like technical, but I want to tell you what my definition of it is and how I'll be referring to it in this conversation. So when I'm talking about a star seed, I'm talking about our galactic cosmic nature. So I'm getting goosebumps right now talking about this because I bet you know what I mean when I say you're not just this body. You're not just this level of life here. There's so much more. And when we want love, when we want to be really seen, when we want to be really loved, really held, and get to do that for the person that we're in partnership with, which I call sacred partnership, we want to bring in all of ourselves into that connection, including our cosmic self, including our galactic self, including maybe you believe in past lives, or maybe you believe in previous arrangements or multiple timelines, right? Like, I know these things are layered and complicated, but the bottom line is this is not all of who we are. So let's simplify it even more, is what you see is not what you get. What you see is not what you get. This is what you see, but what you sense, what you feel, what you be, how you show up, what you own is what you get. So when I'm talking about starseed, I'm just talking about that layer, the layer that's beneath the surface of who are we, what are we doing, and how do we want to show up in our relationship. And the best question I love to ask is, who do you want to get to be? Who do you want to get to be? Like, I got to be a mom. I got to be a love coach. So who do you want to get to be in your relationship? I call it a sacred partnership, because you're partnering in a way that's just beyond the physical. It's beyond like, okay, you do this, I wash the dishes, you mop the floor, I take care of this kid, you take care of that kid. Like there's more. Like, so for an example, for me, like partnering with my sacred partner, twin flame, allowed me to fully step into my life mission. And I believe for us empaths or conscious women that if you're here, if you follow Antia, that's probably you. That is what we want. We don't want to just be in like a mundane relationship that's like take it or leave it, that we're settling or sacrificing in any way. So when I'm talking about our starseed nature, that's what I mean. I'm talking about our multi-layered self.
I love that. And ladies, if you want to use another term for that, go ahead, because it's more about the internal representation of that multi-layered self, this fact that there's a mysterious part to us, right? There's so much research out there that 0.001% or whatever it is, lots of zeros, of the human atom is actually particle, and 99.9 with who knows how many nines % is literally space. So that's what Emilia is talking about, right? And by the way, this woman is very grounded in her past life, so to say. She was a very successful realtor, right? So we're not like here, fluff in the sky and airy fairy, right? Like, I get that. I can read your minds, ladies, you know, but like, so you can be really both in both worlds. And that's why I brought in Emily, because she's very grounded in it, very, very grounded in it. So Emilia, so now I'm the single woman, and now I know, okay, I don't know exactly what this all means, but apparently I have like some multi-layered part to me. Okay, something that I can't comprehend, something that's outside of myself, something that's more through my psychic gifts, for my empathy. I can maybe sense it, but I can't not really touch it, and so on and so forth. So let's go a step further, and let's talk about what in the world, how is that in the world helping? How is that relating to dating and romantic relationships and me bringing my man closer? And then also, like, not just relating, but really also like, why is it important, right? Because obviously we're talking about this today because this is a very significant ingredient in our recipe of baking your man to start a mission with, you know?
Yes, exactly, Antia. That's perfect, because we want to ground it. We don't want to keep it into this like nebulous idea. So there's several pieces, and I'm just going to break it down to 3. First of all, what that looks like is removing wounds or patterning or beliefs that stop us from being fully expressed, that keep us in fear about being fully expressed, that keep us feeling like if we're fully expressed, we're going to chase them away or we're going to lose them, which basically means we have self-worth issues around being self-expressed, right? So part of the work that we do, that I do, and I know you do too, a lot of this is healing through those layers so that we can step into who we truly authentically are on as many levels as possible. Now, of course, this is an ongoing journey. You're not going to be like fully baked and perfect when you meet your man, and nor do you want to be, because most women want to do a journey together. Most women want to partner with somebody and then create life and have a partner and build a life. So the first layer is getting anything out of the way that's in the way, that is keeping you from being fully embodied in your spiritual nature, or what that means, like being your authentic self and expressing who you are, your love, your compassion, your kindness. You're maybe being an adventurous person. Maybe you're somebody who's really brainy and you like to solve problems, but like really owning that and really being okay with it so that you can show up as who you are when you're dating. Because this brings us to the next step, which is dating and dating skills and dating tips and tools and how to date. So I love this thing that Wendy Newman, who's another amazing dating coach, she says, the most courageous thing you can do, basically, like if you just show up as yourself to the date, like that's already like you've done everything you possibly can do. Like there's not more that's wanted from you. You don't have to have perfect manners. You don't have to have perfect lipstick or perfect hair. So this is this message, right? We're talking about this idea of taking it beyond the physical. And why are we doing that? Because if you want a fulfilling, sustainable relationship that works, that fulfills both people, you have to go on that layer. You can't stay on that physical transactional layer of like, you do this, I do that. You pay this bill, I pay that bill. That's like a transactional layer, like it's like a survival layer. But if you want fulfilling, lasting love, you have to go deeper. You have to go to the level of who are you really? Because one day this superficial stuff is gonna wear off, and it's also all circumstances, and life circumstances change. So we want to bring as much of who you are into the dating journey as we can. Mm-hmm. So that way, when you're dating, now this is step 2 with dating, right? So healing so you can bring in all you are, and dating, how to date. When you're dating, how to date smart, how to invite a lot of quality men to pursue you so you can sort, so that you can feel like an abundance of quality men so that you're not in scarcity, which gives our cave woman part, right? Like our cave woman that's like, oh my God, I have to keep him because he's my only gentleman caller. It's like, no, have like 5 of them, go on free websites if that's what it takes, sort, so that when you show up on your date, you show up as you. Because you know what? If you show up as anybody else, you're gonna get in a relationship as somebody else. And then that's not gonna work. And so many people do that. That's why we have a 50% divorce rate. I'm convinced that if we healed and showed up authentically on our dating journey, and then the third thing is learned partnering skills, learned what I call sacred partnership skills, we would not have a 50% divorce rate, because people would approach dating and mating consciously. They would approach it consciously. They would approach it with a lifelong purpose in mind about who they truly are and who they want to get to be and how they want to get to connect. So those are the 3 ways that you can bring it down. You can bring these spiritual concepts down into who am I and how do I show up, and am I courageous enough to be my authentic self? And if not, what's in the way? Mm-hmm. Number 2, how do I date so that I have a problem of abundance rather than scarcity? Mm-hmm. So that also has to do with energy, but sometimes it has to do just with practical dating tips. Like, how are you responding to messages? Are you being inviting, or are you controlling men in the way that you're responding? A lot of women do this. They're like, I don't have any quality men. I can't attract them. They all just text. They never want to call. But she's responding like, I wish you would call me. Rather than, hey, John, great to hear from you. I'd love to hear from you. Or I'd love to speak with you. Smiley face, smiley face, smiley face. Right? So one invites a conversation or a phone call from the man, and the other one literally like puts him off. Right? And these are subtle things, but these are tips and tools you got to learn when you're dating, because nobody's a dating pro. And then the third layer after that is, okay, you found an amazing guy. You really like him. He really likes you. You showed up courageously as yourself. You dated discerningly. And now you're sure that he's passed a lot of the criteria, that he's ready for a reciprocal relationship, that he's masculine and empowered in that. Most feminine women want that. Okay, now how do you partner with him? How do you bring out the best in him? How do you ask for what you need in a way that he can hear and understand and provide? So these are the 3 layers that we bring it to the practical.
And also, I think another one is simply asking yourself, right? Like, how willing are you to be wrong? Because I feel what we call our reality is what we think we can't predict, right? Like, like we're right? Like, see, this man is causing this outcome, I knew he was a player or whatever. I knew I'm going to get disappointed, right? But when I met my husband, I'd love to hear also about your journey too, Amelia, is that I had to go into 5D, right? Or whatever you want to call it, right? Like, I had to leave this current reality, because for me, this kind of man wasn't existing in my reality, right? Like, there was no, there was no chasing, there was no withdrawing, there was no drama, there was no guessing and doubting, right? There was no insecurity. So everything that I have known in reality for myself in my dating journey didn't apply. So in my reality, this could only be a friend, because in my reality, this could not possibly be a romantic connection, even though we were physical and all of that, right? So again, it didn't make any sense, right? And it was crazy, and I was pushing him away, right? And because I was freaking out, my system was freaking out. But really understanding that, like, okay, those are the moments, right, where we can really acknowledge, okay, you know what, like, who I perceive myself to be is not who I am, you know, and really being willing, exactly what you talked about, looking on the outside and just being like, okay, you know what I get, that's who I am, right? Like, so I'm seeing the reflection, and that kind of like invites me, or just kind of like welcomes me, or just, I don't want to say forces me, right? But like, you know, to be and to acknowledge the spiritual aspect of myself, because who I perceive myself to be would have not attracted that. So clearly there must be something else out there. That's how I would also say it with how you explained it.
And that's it. And that's what we're saying. It's like we want to dig deeper, because the relationship that you're dreaming about is deeper than how you're currently showing up. Because if you were showing up in the way that you would be showing up if you had your relationship, you would already have it.
Totally. Exactly. Right.
So there's a deeper part that we're wanting to bring into the physical. We're wanting to make manifest through the healing, through the dating, through the partnering.
So I talk about like expanding your capacity. That's one way how you just said it. So what is like a really good step, in your opinion, to help those women to really expand that capacity? Because who they are right now, they get what they can hold right now, which is not a lot. Right. So if they want to get more, they have to hold more. Right. So ladies, you know, that makes sense so far. Okay. You're smart cookies. I know it. So, you know, so what's a really good step for them to expand their capacity to receive?
You know, my personal favorite, and this is what I use with my clients all the time, is imagination. Imagination and creativity. There's so much we can literally manifest, heal, create through just applying our imagination, applying our creative power. That's our imagination. So imagining, how do we hold more? It's like, well, how would you hold more? What would you have to be? What would you have to do? It's like, for me, I can tell you right now, because we're being real, I would have to clean my house. Like, if I want to hold more, if I wanted to receive more good, I would have to clean my house. There's too much clutter all over, right? So what are you'll know, like, you need to ask yourself, like, what do I want to have, and who do I need to be to receive that? And your imagination right there will come and answer your question if you let it. It's simply asking yourself that question and imagining yourself that question. But there's some very practical things I do, and I'll tell you what they are. I open my legs. I tell this to my girls on their dates. You want to receive more? You're on a date with a very powerful masculine man who's got a lot going on, and you're a little bit intimidated because you're still in that mode of like, you also being the masculine, because that's what's valued at work. It's like, no, flip right away, open your legs, receive, be feminine. And there you go. You've just infinitely expanded your capacity to receive. Open your legs.
I love that, you know, instead of like sitting like cross, you know, having your leg across, you know, it's just like kind of like closing the energy, right? Like, just like, don't get close to me, right? Versus like just really, and even if it's just slightly, ladies, even if it's just, because it's more about the intention, right? So maybe you sit like sideways and you have the legs parallel to each other, la la la, right? But just like a little bit, it's just a reminder, right? Like, I love that.
Yeah, and if you're on a date, you're probably going to be, maybe there's a table, you know, no one's going to see it. Or if you're on the phone, you can open your legs, no one's going to see you, right? So this is for you, and for you to cue your body into receptivity and shifting that energy.
I love that. It's such a, like, just little, like, you know, magical tip, you know, that like, just, you know, just a little bit of a hack, you know, like, love hack.
Exactly.
And Emilia, I'm sure the women are like, so Emilia, how did you meet your man? You know, you're telling me all the stories here, you know.
Oh my goodness. I met him online. I met him on Craigslist.
Oh wow, that's back in the day, ladies. You know, like now.
But that just goes to tell you, I have so many women. Like, what site should I be on? Where are the quality men?
Right.
And it's like, ladies, the quality men are the same place as the jerks. They're in the same exact place. You got to learn to sort, and you got to learn to show up as quality so that you're going to attract quality, right? So
how many men did you have to date before
that? Because I met my amazing husband on Craigslist, right? Like, who would have think? What, Antia?
I said, how many men did you have to date until you met your man?
A lot. I dated for about 10 years. I estimated around 500 dates. So, and across countries too. I lived in Spain. I dated in Spain. I lived in Mexico. I lived in Panama. So I've kind of dated like across the world. And so these principles, like the dating principles, the masculine, feminine principles, they have applied to every country I've dated in.
Yeah, I agree.
Which leads me to, yeah, and I know you're multinational too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So these are not things that, like, you know, sometimes women tell me there's no good guys in America or there's no good guys in California. What's a little true about California, I have to say, but you know, these are
Amelia.
well,
Let's not lead the witness here, you know.
Well, you just have to be slightly more discerning. You know, there's culture. Places have culture, but beneath the culture, these things apply. These things definitely are what it is. So, yeah, so I met him on Craigslist, and I put out like European girl looking for a European guy or something like that. And so he was one. I think just off of that ad, there was like at least 30 responses, and I think I went out with like 4 or 5 men from just that one ad, and he was one of those 5. But I mean, this is after eHarmony, Match, Plenty of Fish, conscious singles, elite singles. I
was part of conscious singles too. Oh my God, my worst nightmare. I got a panic attack from one guy I met on there. But anyways, that's like, oh no, that was not worth like trying to magic one for. But, you know, did he know right away? Because I always tell my women, right? Like, oh, did he know right away? How did that go when you guys met?
I didn't know right away, but I can tell you that if I hadn't done the healing and the work that I'd done, I would not have recognized him, and I would have just been like, eh.
Yeah. Totally, right?
I would have just literally walked right past him.
Yeah.
But thankfully, like you said, like you know, there was enough that I had come to a certain place. Mm-hmm. And what I could see right away was that there was definitely something special about him.
Yeah.
There was something about him, and I'm getting goosebumps right now telling you, because he's Emil and I'm Amelia. Like, he's literally my twin flame.
Wow.
They're so different, like totally different, but amazingly complementary. And he's amazing. Like, he's amazing. He's like everything I dreamed of and more. Like, I tell him every night, you know, it's like, you're my dream. You're my dream. He's like, so are you. It's like, can you imagine that? Like, going to bed with your husband and saying, you're my dream, and him saying that back to you, you're my dream. And
that after being married and having kids. So really going through the complexity of life.
Yes.
You know, like, so after the honeymoon phase is way over, right? And you know what? I see a little bit of this trend. And again, I want to weave that back to what you said in the beginning, why it's so important to let go of who we perceive ourselves to be. Because I really see this trend that those long-term marriages that are super happy, where people are in love, madly, after years with kids and everything, it's usually where it started a little slow. It was like, just, you know, like, you know, and it wasn't this like fireworks and oh my God, it was this crackling chemistry, it was love at first sight, I knew he was the one, right? That oftentimes just blows up in your face, because again, you know, we talk about, you know, if you're just really like, it's just you creating the same pattern over and over again. That's why your body fires, right? It's like, oh, I'm recognizing that. Girlfriend, you do not want to recognize that. That is not good news, right? Like, you want to like stay away from recognition. I don't know about you. I'd love to hear from you, Amelia. But when I met my husband, I don't think there was anything I recognized. I couldn't compare him to anyone. I couldn't put him in any category. I'm like, he's like this, but he's really not. He's like a workaholic, but he's really warm and loving. I don't know. Yes, you know what I mean? I can't categorize him. Like, how was that for you?
Well, there's 2 things that I want to tell you in the audience. first of all, I cried for the first 3 months that I knew him. I cried because I had committed to not emasculating men and to stop controlling the relationship so that I would be the mother energy, so that I would feel needed, and then I would have security that they would never abandon me.
Mm-hmm.
And I had committed to, like, I want to be the feminine energy. So those were 3 things I committed to, and that's when I met him. So I cried the first 3 months, not because he was scary, not because anything bad happened, but because it was that hard for me to step out of my MO.
Yeah, totally. Mm-hmm.
So that's what you're talking about. You're talking about that pattern interrupt, pattern interrupt, right? It's like, it was not the pattern, but that's because I didn't show up as the pattern.
Totally.
And what it took for me was crying like every day. Cause I'd be like, I'm going to wait for his call. I'm not going to call him.
Right.
He said he's going to call me at 5. I'm going to wait. And at 5:55, I'd call my friend Grace and I'd be like, can you stay on the phone with me until he calls?
Yeah.
He'd stay on the phone with me. I was that freaked out about the pattern interrupt I was doing, but I was that committed to breaking the cycle of emotionally unavailable men, immature men, abusive men, like all the kinds of men I was dating. So it absolutely the pattern interrupt. Now, ladies, it doesn't have to look this way for you. Okay. You don't have to cry the first 3 months.
I know, everyone's like, oh my God.
I'm hoping, but I'm just, giving that example to show how committed I was to breaking the cycle.
And you know what I want to say too about that is, and we, like, ladies might not get that, right? Is that actually the fact that you cried showed me that you were actually integrating it, right? That it wasn't just like some sort of idea or concept. And you're like, hey, yeah, my coach told me to do this or that or the other, or this book or this videotape, right? But that it was like you were integrating, right? You were emotionally impacted. And I think that's really the true piece, is like the integration, right? Because the integration then leads to the transformation. So ladies, now it's time to take out your treasure map. Okay, your handy dandy treasure map. I don't know what, just like Dora the Explorer, as kids who watch Dora the Explorer, right? So I'm a map. Anyway, so what is the golden nugget, the one word that you would like to give the women for their map that's really important to know, that the starseed, is really a wisdom keeper off.
The starseed is just a symbol of bringing your whole self to the experience.
One word. We need one word.
You're going to have to help me here. I will not prepare for one word. Sorry. What does that mean, one word?
It's one word, like I said before, that's like on the treasure map. So it could be with experts who said trust, or like whatever. It doesn't really matter. Let's just take evolve. Perfect. Okay, let's do evolve, ladies. Let's put on evolve. Fantastic. All right. So for the ladies, so like, this sounds really amazing. By the way, I want to learn what you learned on your over 506 dates. Like, Emilia, what do you have for the ladies to get more involved with you?
Well, you can click below and get the Sacred Love activation.
All right.
It's 3 prayers done to a sound frequency. So it's meant to shift your frequency so that you can call in sacred love. So what you need is, you need to be sovereign. So there's a sovereign prayer, meaning you need to own your power, because sacred partnership requires for you to be all of you. It requires for you to own your full power. Mm-hmm. And there's a sacred partner soul call. So it's actually like putting out the call into the universe for your soulmate. And then there's the sacred love activation. So that's you activating your field so that you can hold that vibration of the love in your life, like what we were talking about, like receiving that, expanding your capacity. So they're done to sound healing. It's a sound healing. They're done to music vibration. So they're 3 minutes each. So it's less than 10 minutes for the 3 prayers. So I recommend downloading them, printing them out, listening to the meditations, They're 3 minutes. And then printing out the prayers and putting them somewhere you can see them, like on your altar, in your journal, whatever is someplace that you go to daily, so that you can remind yourself of, I call it the sacred partnership Trinity. So it's the 3 things that you need to have activated in your field and your frequency and your vibration to attract sacred partnership.
I love it. And ladies, the link is below this interview. All right. Well, thank you so much for being here today, Emir. It was so much fun. And for the ladies, I'll talk to you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Don't you just love the unique characters and the golden nuggets that they had to share with you? Now, if you would like to jumpstart your journey to attract the right man for you, stop attracting emotionally unavailable men, stop wasting your time, and having this really deep connected power couple relationship, then book your Magnetize the Man 15-minute breakthrough call with me.
Also, don't forget about our amazing VIP upgrade discounted offer where you can get a lifetime instant access to all expert interviews, 2 group support Q&A coaching calls with Antia to get customized support, a breakthrough session, and so many other juicy bonuses as well. So to claim that special discount while they're still in early bird phase, click the link below as well to get that VIP package upgrade.
Much love and talk soon. Mwah!